Breaker Breaker 19er, get your ears on for the GMB Fitness Skills Show. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to be talking about how to get strong, how to get agile, and just how to get better at using your body for the things you enjoy without having to do too much stuff that sucks. My name is Andy. This is Ryan, our head coach and all-around badass. And let's get the show on the road.
Welcome back to Japan, man.
Yeah, Japan is excellent. You can see my wonderful decor here. I am glistening in fluorescence, and
And have a jacket on to boot.
I have a jacket on because it's summer in Japan, and that's just how we roll.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about. We get a lot of questions, oddly, about weight vests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about weight vests a little bit, and how to other ways to make certain exercises a little more difficult, maybe. I've never actually used a weight vest, but you and Jarlo do sometimes. Vest that actually fits me is like I've tried one on, but like you move around and it's like shaking up and down and stuff. Screw this. So anyway, I'm not a big weight vest guy, so I'll shut up for most of that. You're welcome. And but before that, let's ask some questions here that people have been asking us. And let me see here. Today we've posted videos and stuff before about pistol squats, and very recently one of our videos was actually it was on the homepage of Yahoo Sports for about a day and a half, and so that was pretty cool. So a lot more people saw it, which means a lot more people asked questions. So let's ask some questions about pistols and single leg squats and see if we can get all that cleared up for people. Cool? First question about pistols is definitely the most common one that people ask all the time. Actually comes from people who can already do them. But what actually happens is they find that they can do more on one leg than the other. Like, we get all these comments on the YouTube videos and everything. They say, oh, I can do like 48 pistols on my right leg, but only 2 on my left. Like, am I going to die? Well, the good news is you're not going to die. The bad news is your left leg is weak. But how do people catch that up?
Well, there's, of course, a lot of people say you should just do more on your left leg to shore that up, you know. I think that it's like anything. It's a process, and it's going to take time, and it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. We all have a deficiency. Basically, one side is going to be stronger than the other. It's not going to be absolutely perfect. You're not going to have that symmetry. You're not going to be Frank Zane. I'm just kidding. But
unless you are Frank Zane.
Unless you are Frank
in which case,
Zane,
hi,
yes.
Frank.
That's right. Yeah, thanks for listening, man. But yeah, I think you really need to focus on figuring out why you're weak. And might sounds kind of silly, but maybe there's something going on flexibility-wise. In my case, my ankle, my pistol squats are better on my left leg simply because my ankle flexibility on my right side is not very good because of judo, because I had such bad ankle sprains, and just the mobility just isn't there anymore. And so rather than a strength issue, it's more of a flexibility issue. So that could be another reason. So take a look at really what's happening. And sometimes it might just be a matter of fixing that flexibility instead of just the strength. And you might be able to even things out, or at least get them close.
Yeah, so definitely. Cool. That's actually a really good thing to think about. I mean, flexibility, mobility, and the ankles and the hips is a really big part of pistols anyway. Yeah. And most of us have more asymmetry in our mobility than our strength, actually. So it's definitely something to check out. Okay. Another thing is when you teach pistols, you always try to teach people to sit back with the butt over the heel. And in order to do that, you don't want to push your knee forward. But every time you say anything about putting the knee forward, you get all these smart guys that think they are mythbusters saying, you shouldn't say not to put the knee forward. That's misinformation and you're ignorant. Well, actually, it's not the reason we do it. So what's the real story on the knee going in front of the foot when you squat down? Is that okay? Are you going to die? Is it a myth?
It's actually fine. The thing, and one of the reasons that we're doing it is we're looking at balance, actual real balance. And so by loading the back and making sure that you can get your heel on the ground, that you're sitting back and your knee isn't going forward, it's simply just going to help you find that balance for the pistol and going lower into it. So your knee is not going to explode if your knee goes past your toes or anything like that. I do a version of the pistol where I actually don't let my heel go to the ground. So my heel is up and I'm squatting down, and yeah, my knee is going to go past my toes. Obviously, It has to if you're going to do that. But in the beginning, especially working with people new to the pistol, my advice is to focus on that. Just set yourself up so that you're going to be able to do it in a way that's going to benefit you as fast as possible. Yeah. And that's what we're after. And by loading the back, by keeping your heel down on the ground, trying not to let your heel go forward, is going to help you to get strong, and then also improve your flexibility so that you can, or mobility, so that you can actually start doing some other fun stuff.
That's good. And so you mentioned a couple of times loading the back. What do you mean by that?
Loading the back, basically just sitting back. Yeah. And so you're putting the weight to the back rather than the front. And so by putting the weight on the back, you're going to feel it a lot more. And it's also going to help you keep your knee from going over your toes so that your knee doesn't explode.
Okay, good. Because we don't want exploding
knees. We don't want
explosion
knees.
That'll fuck up your pants.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So speaking of back, another thing people say, and this comes from, squatting in general, but we also get comments like, oh man, your back is so rounded, or, are you going to die? Like, everyone thinks you're going to die if you do an exercise.
Yeah. Like, if you wear flip-flops, you're going to die.
Yes.
Different topic.
Thank you, Case.
You're going to be fine if you round your back. This is a natural curvature as you go into that pistol.
The back is made to bend.
It's made to bend that way.
Blown. Wow.
It's amazing how that works. If you can keep your chest up and your back flat, that's pretty cool. But again, it comes down to, in the beginning, making sure that you're able to load the back, be able to sit back. Yeah. And by rounding your back, it's going to help counterbalance. Of course, you can keep your chest up in your back, try and make it flat, but you're going to find that your mobility is going to be actually a little bit better if you round your back. You're going to be perfectly fine. Gradually, you can work on bringing your chest up and sitting up straight when you go down into your pistol as you get better with it. But you're going to be just fine with a round back.
Yeah, the thing with keeping a neutral back when you squat down comes specifically from barbell squats. Barbell
squatting.
If you're loading and carrying weight up here, you don't want to be bending your back because that does put a shearing force on the spine.
Right.
But that's not what we're talking about here. Your spine is perfectly capable of handling the weight of your head and shoulders when it bends. Yep. So in a pistol, don't worry about it. The problem is if you are too worried about keeping the back straight, one of the things that happens is people don't have the mobility to try to do a pistol with the back straight and end up twisting a lot.
Mm-hmm. Or falling
or just falling down, right? Either falling back or they end up with this weird twisted pistol. Yeah. And that's kind of weird. So go on and let your back bend in the beginning. All right. Last question about the pistol. This one actually we get pretty commonly, and it seems like it's a flexibility question, but it might not always be a flexibility question. People are asking about the front leg in the pistol, right? Because there's a lot of ways to do one-legged squats. At least like 5 or 6 like standard big variations on single-leg squats. But in the pistol, we stretch out the front leg. Is it necessary to lock out the knee? Are there benefits to that? What if I can't stretch out my leg all the way? What do I do? Am I going to die?
I love it. Everything is if I'm going to die. No, you're perfectly fine. Yeah, flexibility, but not necessarily flexibility in the back of the leg like a lot of people think. It's more in the hip flexors. And so bending the leg in the front is okay. In the beginning, to be honest, keeping your leg out in front is going to help with balance. If you can keep it out there. A lot of people find that when they draw the leg in, the lead or the leg that's not doing the pistoling, that's a new word, right? The leg that's not lowering down.
The non-pistoling leg?
The non-pistoling leg. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the front leg. Basically, when people bend the leg find that the balance is tough. Just like you mentioned, people would tend to twist. Having the leg out in front will help with balance. If you can't keep it straight, that's perfectly fine. You're going to be just fine. Just fine.
Yeah, the reason to stretch it out is really just to put as much weight forward as possible.
Balance, right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it does look prettier if you can lock out the knee and lift it high. That's great, you know. And if you can eventually get it where you can lift it really high with the, you know, hip flexor strength, I mean, that would be amazing. Sweet. But, you know, most people are not going to be starting out like that, so don't worry, right? Cool. All right, so if you have any other questions about pistols, you know, let us know, and we'll try to answer them, and, you know...
and figure out if you're going to die or not. Yeah.
Mostly, you're just not going to die.
Yeah.
Just practice doing the best version of it you can.
Exactly.
You know, if you have something that you watch a tutorial and you're like, oh, that sounds great, but I can't do that. Well, it might take some practice. It might take, you know, some mobility work, but just keep working at it. Because if you could do it instantly, I mean, there'd be no reason for, like, any of the thing we do.
That's right. That goes for anything.
So thank you for not being able to do it, because that's our job. All right? So, moving on, let's talk about weight vests, because we've had a bunch of people ask us, you know, what do you think about weight vests for pull-ups or push-ups or pistols, or, you know, a lot of different things. People ask us about weight vests, and so let her rip.
All right. I love them. I use them quite a bit, really.
Yeah?
I guess I just don't talk too much about him. Jarlo, of course, uses them every once in a while. When he was training for a climb where he was going up a building for, it was a...
for a charity. It's called Big Climb. They do it every year in Seattle.
Yeah. He actually used a weight vest. He was walking and doing things like that. It all comes down, though, to having the proper form first without loading. And so it's loading and unloaded. So loaded will be where you put weight on top of you, whether it be a barbell if you're holding on to something, or a weight vest. That would be loaded. Unloaded, of course, is just your body weight. So first, make sure that you're able to perform the movement unloaded very, very, very well. So you don't want to load anything with improper form. And so why should you use a weight vest? Well, a lot of times if we are looking at movements, let's say the pull-up, even the dip, a weight vest is, I think, actually safer than using a dumbbell just held between your feet.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people will take a dumbbell and place it between their knees, you have to pull your knees up. And what that's actually doing is placing more of the load on your hip flexors and also your back. Yeah, it's going to help because you're heavy, and it's going to force you to get better at your pull-ups. But again, we want to focus on form.
Yeah, and you're also pulling your body out of alignment by having to grip a barbell, a dumbbell with your feet somehow. Yeah.
And so a weight vest will actually allow you to focus on that form. And that's why I use it. If I'm working on basically just wanting to get stronger to be able to do other tricks and skills, then that's where I'll use my weight vest. Another example is walking lunges. Walking lunges and doing them very low, and using a weight vest to help load me actually helps for my other movements because my legs are stronger then. And by moving my body when I'm walking while having this weight vest on, when I take them off, I feel lighter and I'm going to move better. Cool.
Now, let me kind of ask you real quick there, because, you know, walking lunges traditionally are loaded by holding two heavy dumbbells, right? So is there an advantage to the weight vest over the dumbbells?
Well, again, it's a matter of being able to focus on your form. It's not that you can't do that when you're holding on to dumbbells, but you don't have to think about holding on to the dumbbells.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of times if you're holding the dumbbells, it'll bring you forward when you're in the lunge. Whereas I like to try and keep my chest up so that I can move this way better when I'm doing the lunges, because my lunges are not always just going forward. Going to the side, I might do like a leg thread and back and spin or something like that. And I'm doing these slowly, not going very fast when I have the weight vest on, because I'm really focusing on as deep as I can go in order to also focus on that loaded mobility. And so again, when I take that off, I feel so much lighter, and my movement actually is better because I feel what it's like to be heavy And then when I take it off, it allows me to feel light. So I get that in-between movement where I know where I need to be and I can actually go deeper into whatever I want to do. So that's what I like to look at the weighted thing, not just for strength, but also to help teach you about that overcompensation and then maybe undercompensation. And the compensation in this way, I'm not talking about doing something that's bad, but making it quite difficult so that when you go back to a movement that's easier, in this case unloaded, it's better. And I do that a lot with the kids over here too. Something, I don't have them hold on to anything, but I have them do.
Just put a 40-pound weight vest on.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Here, kid. So, also having your daughter on your back doing pull-ups is awesome. There's another weight vest for you. I'm kind of going off topic there, but a weight vest can be very good for those kind of things. I don't like, I wouldn't run or jump rope with a weight vest on.
You're just adding stress on your joints.
That's exactly right. That's a different thing altogether. So I would only use it for things like I mentioned, the walking lunges, maybe pull-ups, the dips, rope climbs. I don't do a whole lot of that weighted, because what I'm trying to do is focus on a harder progression rather than do an easy progression weighted for the rope. And
with rope, you'll almost never get to a point where there's no harder way to do it.
Exactly.
You're not going to get to the point where the only way I can make rope climbs harder is by adding weight.
Yeah.
That's probably no one's going to get there.
Yeah, and me, especially me, because I'm not at that level where I'm doing these amazingly difficult things on rope.
Right.
But something that I thought was very interesting, if you are going to use a weight vest and you want to do them for pull-ups, there's no reason to use an assistance band. I saw that video the other day and I couldn't believe it. They had a band and they were standing on top of the band with a weighted vest doing pull-ups. So going back to the very beginning though, if you are going to use a weighted vest, first make sure that you're able to perform the basic movement unloaded and do it very well and very comfortably. Then gradually load up the vest to be able to do it. So
don't go straight up to 40 pounds or whatever.
Hell no. Very, very small increments of weight.
Cool. And I do want to say also, this doesn't mean that everyone needs to go out and buy a weight vest either. There are other ways to make exercises easier or more difficult. Obviously, there's a lot of variations that are harder or easier, but two of my favorite ways that are very similar to, like a weight vest, if you find something that you've got excellent form and it's starting to get to the point where it's not challenging to you. Two of my favorite ways to make it a little more challenging without changing the exercise are to either speed it up or slow it down. And by speeding up, I don't mean like trying to pump it out. I mean, making it explosive, right? But still with good form.
Yes.
That's the thing. When people try to make exercises explosive, their form tends to go to crap. But if you can speed it up and make it explosive with good form, that's one way that you can increase the load without changing exercise much. Another one is slowing it way down.
Yes, very good.
And I know you love doing this with squats all the time. And make it very slow. And if you can do that with excellent form, you're also increasing the time under tension considerably. And you'll get a lot more out of exercises that way. So even if you don't have a weighted vest, all is not lost. You can still do very basic exercises and try speeding them up or slowing them down as an alternative to looking to a harder progression if you don't feel that you're ready for that yet.
And a good example for that would be if you're doing a walking lunge, as you walk forward, jump up into the air, switch your feet, and then catch deeply in that lunge.
Yep.
Okay, that'd be one for speeding it up. And then going slow, obviously, just go deeper, hold it, keep your chest up. And you could even bring your hands up into the air to make it harder as you go slow with that. So just two examples for the lunge that you could try out. So
yeah,
that's good. Like it, man. That's really good. All right, so we covered a lot. We covered the pistols, talked a lot about everything you could ever imagine about the pistols. And by the way, we have plenty of pistol tutorials on the YouTube if you want to check that out, GMB Posse. And wow, weight vest. Yeah. By the way, if you do buy a weight vest, make sure that you find one that fits you.
Yes.
One that is not loosey-goosey. And be safe with it. make sure that you buy one that is reputable. I actually purchased one from overseas, China, and it wasn't very good, and it ripped. Couldn't believe it. So if you do buy something, make sure it's quality stuff.
That's something that's really important. I mean, with some kinds of equipment, you can get the cheap version off Amazon and it's fine. With a weight vest, though, it's just something that, from what I've seen, the quality is actually worth paying for.
Yeah, it's got to be durable. It's got to be that way. Also, if you can, buy a weight vest that has small increments rather than big jumps from weight to another. All right.
Cool.
All right. I think we about nailed it today. Anything else?
Nope, that'll do it. Thanks for watching and listening, and
see you next time.